right, so we're going live. We're live.
We're live.
How are you doing today, Ashley?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It's been kind of a crazy week
Yeah.
or weekend. Both, I guess, have been pretty bizarre for me. So
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
it's kind of nice to sit down and I have a discussion.
I agree.
So you're Ashley, and
I am.
are you from Lansing?
I was born in Detroit.
Oh,
Detroit 313 baby. But here I lived all my life, so I'm a Lansing. I guess you could say that.
so how long have you lived in Lansing?
All my life.
All your life.
All
You
my
were just
life.
born in
But
Detroit.
I was born in Detroit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing to be in Lansing? Or would you prefer to be in Detroit?
I prefer to be in Detroit.
Yeah? Why don't you move?
So, long story short, my family moved here after I was born.
Oh, so you're just kind of stuck now.
I'm stuck here.
That's kind of... I kind of feel the same because I'm not from Lansing. I'm from West Palm Beach, in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why here?
Right.
Why?
I was in foster care and then adopted, and so adopted here.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck here because I have
stuck.
kids and a wife and a job and
Right.
so much for Florida.
Yeah. I get it.
So you were born in Detroit, live in Lansing. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
So I'm a mom of 4 kids who I actually adopted.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was a foster parent. I have Carly, Carter, Carmen, and Carson.
Holy cow.
Right. Confusing. Very confusing.
Did you choose those names?
Yeah. Yep, we
Oh,
changed
so
their names.
You did it to yourself.
Unfortunately, I did. Unfortunately, I did. But yeah, I'm a mom. I am a mental health therapist in Lansing, and I'm Ashley. It's me.
You own your own practice.
I do.
Yeah. Where's that at?
North Lansing. So Wisdom of Hope Counseling Services
Okay.
is...
I'm gonna push this mic slightly closer.
You're good.
Or you can pull it.
There we go.
You keep cutting in and out.
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better? That's better.
Does that bother you?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So it's on the north side of Lansing.
Yep. We're like a half a block from the Capital City International, I think that's what it's called, airport.
Oh.
So
what made you want to, I feel like we need to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You're obviously pretty big into the helping people who were like in the foster care system and whatnot, because you adopted 4 kids.
Right.
Where did all this begin for you?
You want the backstory.
I want the backstory. I want to know what defined Ashley.
That's a good point. So let's talk about that. So growing up, I was that kid that was like, what the heck do I want to do with my life? I don't know. Struggling with depression, anxiety, peer pressure, being bullied, all that stuff, kind of plethora mixed into me. Kind of made me think like, what do I want to do? I don't really know. So I got to college. I was like, oh, I want to be a doctor. Yep, that's what I want to be. JK. No, that's not what I want to be, right? Changed my major at LCC 6 times my freshman year.
Wow.
So I did not know what it was that I was called to do until I transferred to Cornerstone in Grand Rapids. And so there I met a bunch of people who surrounded me in prayer and love. They're just like, you're a helper. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't like helping people. While I did that, I was actually working as a foster care worker as well in Lansing area. So I said, maybe that's my calling to like teach people, but I'm not sure what yet. So fast forward to my junior year in college, I decided to change my career again.
Wow.
Yeah, very bad. So I decided to take on a degree in business.
Wow.
Business management was my bachelor's degree. Transferred to Spring Arbor in Jackson, where I said, okay, I think I now know what I want to do. And that was in community counseling. So it wasn't until I was almost done with my schooling that I figured that counseling was my go-to.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how has that been since you began that journey?
It's been great. It's been hard. Counseling during this pandemic has been a pain.
Yeah, because you couldn't do in person, right?
No, all virtual.
Wow.
Which makes it fun, but I've really enjoyed being a counseling for 6 years. It's been highs and lows. You have clients. I've worked in substance abuse and foster care, and now I work with kids. So I've actually had exposure to everything.
What is that job like? I feel that it's got to be so stressful hearing everybody's problems. I mean, because like a lot of times counselors need counselors, right?
Yeah.
or therapists or whatever. How do you manage that?
That's a good question. I actually, see a counselor. I've been in counseling for 6 years. Without her, I don't think I would be sane because, I take on everybody's issues, my kids' issues, my family's issues. And I'm like, well, what about me? Like, what happens? Who am I to talk to? And she's really a supportive person for me where I can go to her and say, hey, I know I can't talk about what happens in session, but I feel a little crazy today. Like what's going on? So I encourage mental health. It's such an important topic now because there's so much going on in the community, in the world. And without therapists, I don't really think people would be sane right now.
I agree, especially right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, coming out of a pandemic, I think mental health kind of took a turn for the worse at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah,
correct.
It did.
I mean, did you see like a wave at all?
I did.
Yeah,
I really did. I saw a lot of referrals coming from schools and the private practice I came from. Before branching to my own, we had a wait list.
Wow.
To the point where we were like, we cannot take more people. We had to refer out.
Wow.
So
that is so crazy.
It is. And even now, I have a lot of colleagues that they have a wait list of a year.
Oh my gosh.
A year or more. So
what if somebody's suicidal and they need help like now?
Yeah. And, and the thing about it is partnering with local hospitals like Sparrow, McLaren, Greater Lansing is so important, but still you need that mental health piece behind it. You can't always send someone to a psych ward to get help.
Right.
You know, and that's the first thing that people want to do. Go to a psych ward, go to community mental health, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But you need therapy too.
Yeah. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
A year wait list.
It's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't like getting in this field.
No, I wouldn't want to.
I don't blame you. No.
I mean, like I had mentioned, I could imagine it'd be stressful. I'm the kind of person who like, I can't just leave work at work.
Right.
Like I constantly think about things. Like if something, like my job, for instance. This episode is brought to you by Red Bike Delivery. This delivery service operates only using battery-powered, eco-friendly transportation. Red Bike Delivery is there for all your delivery needs, whether it's dinner for the family, flowers for your partner, or new houseplants for your new collection. Red Bike Delivery will gladly deliver those and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Check out Red Bike Delivery on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Red Bike Delivery, because there's only one Earth. I work at GM, right. So it's assembly line work. Even though I can just leave that at work, I take home like the conversations and like the different things that happen throughout the day, and I talk about it with my wife. I mean, she also works there, so she kind of gets it.
Yeah.
But I could imagine that if I was a therapist, I would want to do that too.
It's hard.
It would be hard.
It's very hard.
I mean, especially because like this isn't that different from therapy, like sitting and talking to somebody. Yeah. So like after a podcast, I'm like, oh, by the way, we talked about this. We talked about that. Like this was interesting. Yeah. I want to talk about it. I don't know. I feel like it'd be difficult.
It's very difficult. And that's why, I have a lot of things that I do. I journal, obviously not talking about clients, but like, hey, today my day was horrible because blah, blah, blah. I find different outlets, and I have a very supportive family. My family they are A1 in my book. They're like, Ashley, you got this. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm really struggling today. You don't understand. I work 12 hours plus I work a full-time job and the practice. So they're like, you really are doing amazing. I'm like, no,
you work a full-time job?
I do.
And you do this practice? I do. What do you do?
I work for a nursing home in the Greater Lansing area.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm kind of crazy.
You are crazy. Why are you that crazy?
I don't know. It's just, it's fun. It's fun. It's really fun.
You don't do it for financial reasons? You just do it because you want to?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And you don't look tired.
No, but I am. And 4 kids.
That is insane.
It is.
Do you have a husband?
I do.
Okay, so that I'm sure that helps slightly, right?
Yep. He's
That's
supportive. Cool. So, but like I said, my family they're amazing.
That is awesome.
They continue to encourage me, do what you want to do and push for. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me about your foster kids. How did that come about? When
Oh,
when did you
wow.
decide that you wanted to do foster care? Were you passionate about children in foster care?
I was back in 2012 through I think 14. I was an unaccompanied refugee minor foster care worker. So a lot of my kids came from like Eritrea and Congo and Botswana, the African cultures. So I decided, hey, I want to look into this. I'm always in their homes doing the home visits, the checks, but I don't know if I really want to have my own child right now.
Mm.
Um, and struggling with infertility issues was a huge thing, which I actually therapy am a therapist for people with tongue twister there, therapist for people with infertility issues as well. But
Okay.
that was kind of what trickled me to kind of push forth with our license. We got 4 kids in a matter of I'd say a year.
Whoa.
It was freaky. It was kind of
Whoa.
crazy. I was like, no, this is not. I was not expecting this.
How old were they?
My oldest now, she was 4.
Wow.
So they're all siblings of a 7 group sibling group. So we have the
Holy
middle
cow.
4. Yeah, and they're amazing kids. They come with trauma.
Yeah.
And part of my mental health journey with therapy has come from my kids. It really has. Like I've been able to advocate for them and their needs and know what's right and what's wrong. And I would say they're my support system too, like to help me get through this, what I get through.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you were working in the foster care system, what was your perspective of that? Because I know with my experience being in the foster care system, it was not good.
Yeah.
As far as like just I guess negligence on the agency and the caseworkers, and I understand that their caseloads are just like astronomical.
Right.
They have too many kids and they not enough resources, all that jazz. What did you have that kind of experience?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was it frustrating?
Very, very. I would say, I had cases in northern part of Michigan. So
Holy cow.
from here to Clare,
Whoa.
which what is like 2-hour drive maybe.
Yeah.
The system is really broken. It's broken. I'll be very transparent. It's broken. There's not enough workers. There's not enough pay. There's so many kids in the Lansing area that are in the system, and there's not enough homes.
How many kids do you think are in care in Lansing?
I don't even know. That's a hard question because you have the private agencies and you have DHHS and, I would say thousands, honestly.
Wow.
Thousands.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And the numbers change every day. So
Yeah.
put that in consideration as well.
Yeah. And they change pretty drastically too, because you might get like a family of 7 or
Right.
a family of 4 or 1 or 2.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, nope, it's definitely broken. You have the good workers who actually are in it for the right reasons. You have the good families who are in it for the right reasons. And you have those families who might not be there for the right reasons, but, they're trying to change a child's life. And I've had a lot of
Right.
interactions with those, families and like, maybe this is not the right thing for you to do.
Yeah.
But I'm very thankful for the opportunities. I still actually, quite a few of my kids have reached out to me recently. They've just graduated from college. So that's
Whoa.
really a plus. And they're like,
That-
hey, Miss Ashley, like, do you remember? You're like, oh my God, you're doing something great,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's one thing I always hated about the foster care system was I guess like the bad titles that came along with it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a foster kid, you're never going to make anything. Like you're going to go,
Right.
you're going to be in jail. You're going to be a statistic,
Mhm.
as everybody always says. And I don't think you have to be.
no.
I mean, obviously, if you don't have love at home, you don't have guidance, you're going to do bad things no matter what anyways.
Exactly.
I mean, not necessarily, but you're not going to have the opportunities that somebody who has the guidance and the love and everything has.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
That's right.
and that could be true for anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Have you seen the foster care system make any like positive changes?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Because one thing I guess I've recently learned is that they're trying to make some changes as far as the way they do things, from like when I was in care.
Yeah. A lot of, and I don't know how old you are, but a lot of things have changed.
28.
28.
28.
What?
Yeah. How old do you think I am? Or did you
I was
think
going to
of?
say closer to my age. We're not far apart.
How old are you?
33. No,
It's a secret.
it is a secret. It's on the internet now, but no worries. Um, there's been a lot of, incentives like in the programs. Like I've seen youth be able to go to national schools and get full ride scholarships, where back in the 80s, that wasn't even a thing
Mm.
that foster care looked at.
Yeah.
I had a kid that actually went to Western Michigan and he got a full ride on athletic scholarship and educational scholarship plus being a foster care youth. So he had
Wow.
nothing to worry about but
Oh my gosh.
like clothes and shoes, things like that.
Yeah.
I know they have a lot more camps for kids. They have a lot more computerized things. Like if you graduate, you get this. So there's a lot of perspective that I see within it, but I would never, someone asked me recently, would you go back to working that? And I said, probably not.
It's so depressing.
It is. It is. You take home so much, the late night calls, the on calls, the emergency crises, removing kids from home. That's one thing I don't miss. I miss the actual side of sitting down with the kid and say, hey, I know you came from an abusive home. What can I do to help you?
Right.
That's the part that I enjoy the most out of it.
Your kids have to be so fortunate. They have a therapist for a mom.
I know, it's crazy.
I mean, I would assume that you would be so understanding and patient and be able to, like, whenever they're struggling with something, being able to pull them aside and just like talk to them and like kind of explain what they're going through and give them perspective a little bit, right?
I try.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect.
Nobody
I
is.
try. But yeah, you're right. My oldest two actually struggle with significant mental health issues. My older daughter, she has probably, I think we classified 8 diagnoses, and she's only
Whoa.
10.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
it's a plethora of. I'm excited to actually, have kids who were in the system and be their mom. And say, hey, this doctor's not advocating for my daughter with the medication or treatment. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
I've had professionals at University of Michigan say, wow, you know your stuff. Thank you. And that makes me feel really good because I feel like had I not gone this path, I probably would not know how to parent my kids who have had trauma prior to my education.
I think that's I guess one thing about the foster care system that I don't like is that almost anybody can become a foster parent.
Right.
And they advertise it that way too. Like, oh, it doesn't take somebody special.
Exactly.
Have you heard those commercials on the radio?
I have.
They piss me off so bad. Every time they come on, I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. And I get that, they don't have enough foster parents.
Right.
I get that. But there should be some sort of qualifications. There should be somebody who can help understand. Because like for me, when I was in foster care, like I had nobody to sit me down and like explain like, okay, this is what you're going through. And I guess there wasn't a real understanding of how to help children.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge problem.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's scary. I mean, like I said, I've seen cases where it's gone worse.
Yeah.
The foster parent has abused or been accused of abusing the child. And like what happened? What really happened? We thought this was a great home or whatever. I've had cases with mental health where I've had to call the home in, and that's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
That is the worst feeling when you're on the other side saying, hey, this is what's happening. We got to act on this now.
Yeah. That was one of my biggest things with the foster care system with an agency here locally. Not to get too much in my story.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you because you're a therapist and like you're in that realm. When I was growing up, I was in high school, but I was experiencing all this abuse and everything. And I reported it. So many people reported it, like probably 10 or 12 people reported everything that was going on. And they would come out and they would, let you know they're coming out and to investigate or whatever. And so it gave everybody like a week to come up with a story.
Right.
But one of the things that I reported was that my adopted mom had gone to jail for abusing me. And she still maintained her license like for years after that. But the agency never found out because they expunged it all from her record.
Yep.
And she just didn't tell them. And so I told them, and they came out and investigated, and they're like, okay, well, next time, let us know.
Yeah.
And don't let it happen again, because if you do, we're going to take your license away.
Yeah.
And then it was in that moment, I was like, I heard that, and I lost all faith in the system. Like, are you serious? They still let her have kids. And after that, she still had kids in the home and abused them.
Wow.
And I was like, are you serious? I cannot believe this.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened.
No,
But it's true. It is true. It happens. And, like I said, it's not saying that all foster parents or adopted parents are bad.
no, I'm not saying that because
Right.
I do know some really good ones. Like my brother, Michael, he was in another foster home and his parents are amazing. And my sister, she was in another foster home and her parents are amazing.
Yeah.
They're just great people. So, there are really good people that do it. There's people that do it for the right reasons. I'm sure you're one that does it for the right reason.
Yeah.
It's just, there are some bad apples for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With anything.
Of course. Of course.
So, wow, that was a rant.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You needed it.
Yeah, I guess I needed it.
Therapy.
Yeah, therapy. So, how often do you do therapy? Because you are obviously really busy.
Yeah.
You work a full-time job.
Every day.
Every day. You do therapy every day.
Every day.
Is it all online?
Except for the weekends. I'm not going to say 7 days. So 5 days a week.
Okay.
Right now I have a couple clients who are virtual.
Okay.
So online, like Zoom things. I do have a couple kids that are like, no, we want to go inside the office and play, which is super cute because they want to play with the toys. The concern with that, a lot of therapists have kind of cut back at in person. And I'm a people person. I'm like, I want kids to be in my office. I want the sand to be played with. I want the toys everywhere. Yeah. So taking safety precautions as well with COVID and things. So I have a lot of precautionary measures that I use if they're coming in person as well.
Okay. And you obviously are pretty booked up, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes. So backstory, I actually just officially opened February 5th, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
So we're fairly new.
Okay.
I've been a therapist for 7 years, but this was a venture I've worked on for the last year. I went back and forth. I said, no, I want to do it. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. A lot of things going on in my personal life that kind of hindered me, and I struggled with my own depression. I said, I can't do this. I can't help someone and I'm struggling. So January 1st, I said, nope.
Is that true?
What?
You can't help somebody if you're struggling?
No.
You don't think that's true?
I don't think it's true.
You don't think by helping other people it makes you feel better?
It does. It does.
I mean, obviously you have to be able to handle your own stuff.
Right.
You have to have the ability to be able to do that.
Right. I think in my terms, I felt like my life was so chaotic that it wasn't the perfect time to do this, and it's never the perfect time to do anything. Exactly. People are like, you have 4 kids. You're crazy. You're really doing it. I mean, yeah, I'm doing it, but it was, the vision behind my practice is my grandmother, my late grandmother. She really, she's been gone for 5 years now, 6 years, I think, something like that. But she really has been speaking to me a lot, and saying like, you got to do this. This is what you're called to do. So just do it. Don't sit on it. And here I am.
And so since you started, what has it been like? Has it, because you did it because, you wanted to,
right?
But you felt that your late grandma wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
Do you think you lived up to her expectations?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything from my logo to, I don't know, like my business cards here, but from my logo to my cards to the mission statement kind of has something of her in it. She was really like a second mother to me. She helped raise me with my mother, and I just feel like she's proud of me. She's really proud of me for doing it. So she
should be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To me, it sounds like you're killing it. I'm
trying to.
It sounds like you're killing it. You have a practice. You work full time. You have 4 children that you adopted.
And 3 dogs.
Literally. Wow, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be proud.
Thank you.
You should be proud.
I am.
And not to mention, you're helping people with mental health, and you're helping children. Mm-hmm. Where did that passion come in? Because you do like play therapy and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is? What is play therapy?
So play therapy is just typical therapy. You can be licensed and certified and trained and all that. Like, I call it alphabet soup. I literally have so many credentials behind my name. It's crazy. But it's just getting down with little Jimmy and saying, hey, like, here's a bear, here's some sand. Let's talk about what's going on. A lot of it is trauma focused as well, which I have trauma focused therapy certification. But play therapy can be a sand tray, it can be art, it could be bubbles, whatever you can do to connect with that kid.
And those are specific certificates that you have gotten, or was that incorporated in your degrees?
So I took courses in play therapy, in sand tray therapy, and art therapy.
Okay.
At Spring Arbor University. I'm not certified in them yet. That's
Okay.
coming. But I am able to do that in my practice.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any people working for you?
I do not.
No.
Well, besides my amazing office manager, who's my mom. Shout out to my mom.
Awesome.
But just me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you have a location
I do.
on the north side?
North side.
Very cool.
3310 Barterville.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your goals? Like as far as the your practice and your job and everything? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you just want to grow it like crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've already actually been contacted by someone in Detroit area to branch another office there.
holy cow.
I'm like, wait, we just started. My overall goals is just to do therapy.
Yeah.
You know, do my own thing and just keep changing the lives of people in the greater Lansing and Detroit metropolitan area.
What's the general consensus of, I mean, we kind of talked about it in the beginning, but the general consensus of people's mental health right now?
Wow. Scrambled.
Yeah.
Very scrambled. I've seen cases of every sort. I've seen kids and parents and families. I mean, the divorce rate right now and with this pandemic has gone skyrocket.
Has it really?
It has.
Wow.
I've seen kids with, suicidal ideations that, I'm just like, I don't want, prior to kids going back to in person, if they are, I don't know if a lot of kids are, my kids are, but it's just, there's so much mixed emotions. A lot of people are getting the misconceived notions of therapy as well. Like therapy, you don't go, you don't tell people your problems, or they were raised that way.
Right. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all over the place. It's scrambled.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people who come and they get referred. They're like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I want to actually do this. And I said, you know what, just try it one session. If it doesn't work, I'm not offended. I will politely refer you somewhere else, or we can get you connected to some community-based agency.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. A lot of people stay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they know. Like,
yeah, it took
I really
them a year to
need
get
this.
in there.
Exactly. So it's really scrambled, but hopefully with things kind of dying down,
Yeah.
a lot more people can get the help they need.
What is your opinion on, I mean, I guess this goes under the same umbrella, but the mental health, like for instance, my daughter's in school, and with with COVID and everything, it's kind of painted a certain narrative to where, they're uncomfortable to kind of go back to a normal situation. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, my daughter doesn't have to wear a mask anymore in school, but she feels comfortable wearing a mask. And
Right.
like, she's almost afraid to show her face because that's all she knows. She started going to kindergarten during COVID. So that was her first experience ever in
Wow.
school. So that's all she knows.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is going to have a long lasting effect on some of the young people?
Of course, which is so unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think I can speak to my 10-year-old Carly. She's, Mom, are we going to ever be able to smile without a mask again, in
Wow.
school? And I choose my school that my kids go to. They don't have to, but I choose to. We all had COVID like way back, and it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked having COVID.
It does suck.
Very bad.
I've had it twice.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I don't want it again.
No.
But, I think these kids, we all, we're not far in age. We lived to see like 9/11 and how that impacted us as kids. I remember sitting in my, I think, 4th grade or 5th grade class, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. I kind of feel like this is the same thing for these kids, even us.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to have long lasting effects from the pandemic in different ways.
How do you think we can get over that or get them through that?
Talking to them, getting on their level, speaking to them, explaining that you don't have to be afraid. If this continues, just know that you're going to be safe. Know that mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whomever is going to protect you. I know my kids are still scared. They don't want to go anywhere. And I'm that mom that's like, sanitize your hands before you touch anything. But I talk to them. I talk to them and say, hey, like, I know we had COVID at one point, and I know you guys are scared of COVID, but understand it might not go away. But we have to understand that we're going to be okay. And if there's anything you guys want to know about what's happening in the world, talk to me or your dad. And that's the problem, I think, now with a lot of families is we're not talking like we should.
Yeah. Which also creates a divide.
Absolutely.
I mean, because then, they may go to school and state some sort of opinion, and then somebody else has an opinion, and then it creates more divide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing that was concerning for me at the beginning was my daughter. She kept referring to COVID as the sickness,
Oh, wow.
like it's the plague.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we can't go there because of the sickness.
Yeah.
Like that's all she knows.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's better than what my kids referred it to.
What do they refer to?
The bat disease.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty the bat disease. I said, okay. So I guess we had the bat disease.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That was funny. Have you seen some long-lasting effects in some of your clients?
Yeah.
Yeah, from COVID?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Even, I mean, I can keep referencing my own kids as well.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, it really hit her when we had it. I think I had it worse than everybody. And they say the short-term memory loss, which is true. You have it.
Yeah.
I had it for like 3 months.
Brain fatigue,
Brain fog,
like brain fog.
yeah.
Whatever they call it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I had one client that I worked with that did not want to speak in terms about COVID, which sounds really weird. But anytime I said COVID, like how are you feeling after COVID or your vaccination? Shut down. Just shut down. And it was a fear of getting it again, which I later understood. I said, man, what am I doing wrong? Like, did I say something wrong? Did I look at you wrong? But it's affecting people in so many different ways.
That kind of brings up a question for me. So when you are in a therapy session, how do you know how to navigate a conversation? Like, for instance, this interview.
Right.
I don't want to call it an interview. I don't like calling it interviews because it feels like I'm just like asking you questions, which I guess I am, but I want it to be like a discussion.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting down and talking to somebody, how do you know what to ask them and where to take the conversation? Because I'm sure certain things can be like triggers to certain people to, like you mentioned something and they could just break down crying or whatever it is. How do you know how to navigate that?
So there's a rule in therapy. You kind of let the client talk. You don't ever overtalk the client. And that's what we're trained to do. There's actually a percentage of what the client should talk. And a lot of times they won't talk. The kids, they'll say like this.
So what do you do to get them to talk?
I kind of play games. I interact with them. I'm like, oh, Jimmy, like I really like your SpongeBob shirt. You do? Yeah. SpongeBob is my like homeboy, and COVID has really affected that in a different way because I'm doing Zoom and it's not as personable where I can say, hey, like high five, or some of my kids, I had a special handshake with them and they're like, oh, cool. Like let's go play now with the Barbies or whatever. But you can't do that on Zoom. You can't. So now what I have found is music. A lot of my kids are like, oh, we'll listen to, I don't know, whatever the latest music is the kids like.
Yeah.
So I'll let them start off how they want to. Do you like this song? Yeah. Okay. As long as it's parental approved,
Right.
You can listen to it and then we'll start segue from there.
Okay. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting in therapy when I was in foster care, and I didn't say much because one of the things that kept me from wanting to talk was they would always go tell my adopted or my foster mom. Later on became my adopted mom, but my foster mom everything that I said during the session.
Yep.
So then I didn't want to talk.
Yeah, you didn't trust them.
No, and which I think they still do, right? Mm-hmm. You still have to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, that it creates a very
it does.
Yeah,
it does.
It creates a very uncomfortable situation for children.
Absolutely.
And teenagers especially, right?
They lose trust in everything.
Yeah.
Don't text my mom. Please don't tell my mom. I did not like her spaghetti last night. Okay. That's something I don't have to tell your mom about.
So does it make it difficult to talk to like older kids? Because I'm sure older kids and teenagers don't want to have that information relayed.
It does. It does. Yeah. And, not that I have a preference, but I prefer younger kids.
Yeah.
Where, they're easier to get along with. They're easier to understand. Like you have Miss Ashley. A lot of kids call me Miss A or Miss Ash or whoever they call me. Miss Ashley has to tell mom or dad about this if it's, you're unsafe or you feel like someone's going to harm you or, the rules.
Right.
The teenagers are like, you told my mom what the boyfriend said. And like, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember sitting in therapy and I didn't say much and I kept like looking around the room because the lady had a bunch of interesting things around the room. And
Mhm.
it was weird though because it was like this huge disconnect from like she was sitting at this desk across the room and I was sitting in like some like fluffy chair like across the room and she was like
Yeah.
asking me questions. So like there's like this room full of things and I'm just like looking around because I didn't want to be there and I didn't want to answer her questions. And so I just like answered them as vague as possible.
Probably wasn't honest either.
No. And then I remember I don't remember what she told my adopted mom, but it was like, I was like,
Yeah.
that's not what I was trying to do or
Right.
say at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting. And I don't know. I guess after that experience, I didn't really like therapy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I then later on went to therapy as an adult a few years back and it helped with so many different things.
Yeah. Therapy is so crucial. I mean, I can't preach it enough. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like, you need water to survive. You need therapy to survive your mental health.
Yeah. Um, is there ways that I mean, other than going to therapy,
Mhm.
do you manage your mental health in any other ways? Like for me, it's working out,
Yeah.
doing like activities or whatever.
Yeah. Um, I have a lot of coping skills. I love arts and crafts. So I'm always doing some type of art thing or
What kind of
um,
art?
I love mandalas. So like painting the different mandalas and stuff. I started
Oh,
that in therapy, so that kind of helps as well. But I love taking trips, like self-care, just bye, go away. In fact,
wow.
I'm taking a trip this coming weekend with my family. So
Oh, cool.
that kind of helps me decompress everything that's going on in my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Trips are very important.
yeah,
Yeah. I think going on trips too help give you a different perspective of life too.
absolutely.
One thing that it's so easy to get caught up in like what's going on right here
Yeah.
and forget how big the world is.
Right.
I was just in Florida like a couple days ago and I drove back and like going through all these states, I'm driving through Atlanta and I think about Atlanta. I'm like, Atlanta doesn't seem that big.
Yeah.
But as I'm driving through, I'm like, this place is huge.
It's huge.
It's
Hmm.
huge. And then you think about all the people that live there. And then you think about like once you get past there, you get through Tennessee and Nashville. And it's like all these people that live there. It's insane.
Yeah,
It's insane. It gives you different perspectives.
it does.
Yeah,
It
it makes
does.
you more appreciative of what's going on here.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
In cold Michigan.
Yeah. Cold Michigan.
Cold.
Do you like the cold?
No.
No.
No, I would prefer to be like in Florida.
Absolutely.
Tropical. I hate it.
On a
here.
beach.
I hate it. I do.
Yeah, I hate it too. I tell my wife all the time I want to move, and that's obviously not possible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So with the question, what do you plan on? Where do you plan on having your business the next like 5 years? Let's say. I mean,
Wow.
you obviously have people wanting you to expand already.
They do. They do. That's a tough question. Probably in the next 5 years, I won't be here in the state, so that would be the first thing. But growing bigger. I am working my PhD as well in psychology, so hopefully within the next yeah, crazy, right?
Where are you getting that at?
Walden University.
Okay.
So hopefully within the next 5 years, I'll be completed with my entire program, and I'll be able to teach psychology as well, and grow my practice that way as well.
Wow. So you're studying psychology right now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very.
Are you observing me?
I am. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. People are like, why'd you tell me that? You're really reading my mind right now. I am. No.
I had a lady on one time and she told me she could feel like, or she could sense what people are like thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know about this conversation now.
You're thinking I'm crazy. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I can't read your mind.
Okay, good.
We're good.
Good. That's really good. So have you ever thought about like doing like some sort of podcast of some sort or like some sort of like YouTube channel to help with people with mental health?
I have, but I don't like talking. I'm surprised. Like,
I can tell you're like
I don't like talking.
you kind of end things.
know.
Like you don't
That's
continue
the
the conversation.
therapist in me. Like, get to the point.
Get
you
to the
know?
point.
No, but I have. All jokes aside, I do like talking. I love people.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about, well, actually I started something on TikTok. So that kind of I
That's
call it,
even better.
yeah, it is. I didn't think it was going to go as well. And people actually reached out. They're like, hey, you've missed a week. You haven't posted. I'm like, sorry, I'm busy. So it kind of started there. And I think I am going to trickle it over to YouTube. I have done stuff on Facebook as well.
What kind of content do you put on TikTok?
A lot of personal stuff, but then like I'll do like therapy talk 101 with Ash, and it's like a Tuesday or whatever. And I'll say, hey, like the first one I did was about anxiety and depression. And I'm like, what do you guys do for self-care? Like me, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. And then people commented. And so they wanted a follow-up video.
Oh my gosh.
So you know how that goes with all the comments.
Do you read them all?
I do.
Do you ignore them?
No, I actually do. I read them all. And it wasn't a lot. I don't have a lot of followers, but it was maybe 20.
Oh, okay.
I did respond to all of them because I didn't want anyone feeling any type of way against me. Like, we'll never refer anyone to her ever again. So that's kind of where I started, and maybe that will grow from there.
I think TikTok is a really good way to get information out there.
It is, yeah.
Because the thing is, people's attention spans are so small.
Yeah.
They don't want to sit down and listen to a conversation like this. Like, I'm coming in late to the game. I probably shouldn't do this. I probably should do a TikTok.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people's attention spans aren't very big.
Yeah,
I know
true.
when I'm scrolling through like social media, if something's, more than a minute long, I'm not watching it.
I agree. I'm next. Click.
I don't got time for that. And I don't know. My attention span's not that big, I guess. Unless it's intriguing. Then
I
I'm
can
like,
probably diagnose you. No, I'm just kidding.
could you?
No, it's normal. It's normal.
What is your opinion of social media and people's mental health?
Wow. I think, well, first of all, I think there's a lot of junk on social media that people get consumed in, politics and religion things and school stuff, and it affects your mental health.
COVID.
I know. Yeah, COVID, right? I know I sit sometimes and scroll in bed. I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. And, so-and-so had this issue at this school, and it makes you so depressed. I know for myself, I try not to even watch the news at home.
Yeah.
Social media can be like make or break you.
Yeah.
And that's really a huge thing that I kind of talk to, especially my teens that I work with, like, watch what you post, watch what you watch, because a lot of that is going to affect your mental health at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one thing I've realized that, I've gotten away from posting like just random things.
Yeah.
I do post some random things. Like today I seen some idiot trying to attack a buffalo. And I'm like,
oh God,
nope. Nobody has respect for nature whatsoever.
Right.
Like, so I shared that, but like I share things like that. Or I share podcast stuff.
Yeah.
But like, as far as like sharing things that could be like controversial, things like that, I typically don't do.
Right.
Just because like people engage, and then you're going down this rabbit hole, and then you don't like what that person said, and now you gotta one up them on what they, it's just back and forth, and it's not healthy at all.
And then people feel some type of way about you, like, oh, he said this or she said that.
Yeah.
It just creates havoc. And, I try to watch what I say on Facebook, even though my Facebook page for the business, I recently, so last month was Autism Awareness Month. So I posted something on that, and someone was like, oh my God, she does not like autism. I'm like, that's not what I said.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was bad. I had
What did you post?
It was just, like the autism awareness ribbon. And
That's it.
That was it. And
oh my gosh.
I think I posted like a comment underneath or something, and someone, I think it was a spam account, possibly, because we reported it later. And I'm like, this is not what I intended by posting this.
Wow.
So I try to watch everything I post, because people are watching. You never know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just recently fell into a bunch of turmoil on the 517 page.
Oh
yeah, because I did an interview with a guy who's a politician. Mm-hmm. He's a Republican running for governor, and
I saw that.
Yeah. I had a bunch of negative feedback from it, and people are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow, people, like, I hadn't even posted the interview yet, and people are telling me like all kinds of things about me, like, oh, he's just looking for attention, and
people are
like,
so rude.
They're so rude, and I'm like, what is wrong with people?
Yeah.
Like, that goes to show what people's mental health is actually like, because if they're sitting online and they're just willing to just like trample over somebody
Yeah.
online over something they've seen that they don't agree with. It's
Exactly. And it's
uh,
not, I mean, it's really what this world has come to.
yeah,
Like, we can't even, walk hand in hand anymore because
no.
people think, oh, well, this is what they're, it yeah, that's a whole nother
And
topic of
the
conversation.
thing for me was like, I'm not even telling them my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I was out there like, hey, this is who I'm endorsing for governor.
Sure.
Like, I was just like, I had this conversation with this guy. He's super controversial. I mean, because he has like his own TikTok, his huge following, but the things that he says is pretty controversial.
Yeah.
Like he was at that whole January 6th thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously there's something there to where people won't like him.
Right.
But the thing is, I was like, I should have a conversation with this guy because I'm also going to have conversations with some other people running for governor.
Sure.
So why not? And then that opened up for a bunch of angry people.
Well, let them be angry.
No,
Do
absolutely.
You.
And so where I was getting with all that, my response to that was nothing. I didn't respond to these people.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to. I really wanted to.
It's hard.
I really wanted to. But my response was eventually I felt like I had to put out a post like, okay, explaining why I interviewed him and, my purpose behind it.
Right.
And even I got some negative feedback.
Oh, gosh.
I'm like, oh my gosh, can't make anybody happy. But,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Let the haters hate.
Let them hate. All it did was help me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that's negative about social media is like you can never make anybody happy, even no matter what your intentions are.
No.
You could be intending to like change the world
Yeah.
in a positive manner.
Yeah.
And there'll always be that one person like, oh, they just want attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know I had posted on my Instagram IG. I said, today is actually the first day of Mental Health Awareness Month, May 1st through the 31st. And I'm like, oh, great. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month to all my people who are having, I don't know how I said it, issues or who struggle with issues. Okay. Of course, there's that one person in the room. And, I said, okay, I'm going to address this because I don't want you to feel that I am endorsing your diagnosis or I'm trying to diagnose you, but knowing that this is a segue to say, hey, if you need help, I'm here. I can help refer you or help see you or however. And people are going to say what they want to say. So,
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I find really concerning, as far as like mental health and everything, is victims mentality. What is your perspective of that? Because I feel that somebody who has overcome a lot of trauma myself, it wasn't easy. It's never easy.
no.
But I think that in today's day and age, there's almost like some sort of reward in being a victim and playing the victim, as opposed to trying to like work through your issues and figure yourself out.
I agree with you. I'm actually glad you said that. It's, I'm a domestic violence survivor. A lot of people don't know that. I don't endorse that. But I even look at cases that we've had here locally, and you probably know what cases I'm talking about that have gone big. I think when you go through a situation, whether it's a big trauma, a bad trauma, sexual abuse, domestic violence, whatever it is, a lot of times people will push you to not speak up and talk about what happens because they feel like, oh, well, you need to brush that under the rug. No, I'm not going to. I need to talk about this because if I don't talk about it, it's going to continue to affect my life. And I think endorsing the whole idea of trauma versus mental health sucks because you have to be able to talk about your trauma at some point in life.
Yeah.
I have family members that are going through traumatic issues right now, and they're like, I don't know how I can. But I always tell people when you're ready to talk about it, you'll know. You will know. You can't force yourself to do something that you're not ready to.
Yeah.
No matter how old, young you are, or when the trauma happened. And it affects us all differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what is your opinion about victims mentality? Because like, especially with like social media, I've seen it. I've seen so many times where somebody will post about something that happened to them, but they're almost like, it's like they're using it to like get attention in a sense.
Yeah.
Is that part of that trauma, do you think?
I think yes and no. I think it just depends on the person. I don't really have an opinion on it because it depends on that person. Like, I don't really say yes and I don't say no. It's just, it's there,
Yeah.
it's something that's not talked about a lot though. It really is. And I think you're the second person that has asked me that in a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's something obviously that needs to have more attention brought to the surface.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Have you ever interviewed, or not interviewed, but talked to somebody in like a therapy session about victims mentality,
Not
or
really.
seen somebody who has that type of mentality?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
What does that look like?
This was an older lady. She might have been in her 60s, and I would say she shut down. She was really shut down and very reserved. She didn't want to come through the front door. She didn't want to speak. But once I broke the ice, she was really like, da 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 da. Like, everything was just there, like an open book. She wouldn't let me really talk about anything, but she kind of knew what to say and how to say it. Unfortunately, sessions ended with her because she was not ready. And she just kind of was like, whatever, social media helped me get through this, and I'm going to go back. I said, okay, well, that's you, do you. But I haven't dealt with a lot of people in that circle, I would say.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the victim's mentality is like one of those things that bothers me, because I'm like, I've overcome so much. I mean, I understand everybody's like vastly different.
Yeah.
Everybody's extremely different, and everybody handles things extremely differently. But for me, I'm like, I've overcome so much, and I've always used what I went through as a way to kind of navigate my life. Like, I knew that I didn't want to be that person.
Right.
Or I knew that I didn't want to be the person that let that situation define like my future for myself. And so I always used it as like kind of fuel and motivation to push past and just become better. Even though, like, I mean, just up to a few years ago, my mental health was not like good. I mean, I just was extremely unhealthy, like mentally.
Yeah.
And obviously I had to work through all that. And
Sure.
But and now I feel great. I feel better than ever.
Great.
But like, I don't know what it is about me, but I've always had that capability of being able to kind of just push through. And I think it might go back to like when I was in foster care and I learned the survival technique. Like,
I was going to say that. You've experienced a lot, trauma in that part. So that's probably why.
Right. It's kind of crazy to see somebody who can't handle something. Like, for me, to kind of be in a spot where like, I feel like I'm going to shut down.
Yeah.
It probably would take so much. I don't even know what situation would have to happen for me to be in that position.
Right.
But for some people, like, something so small just could shut them down.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how people vary.
Yeah. Or even, they might take their own life.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Very.
Yeah.
I've had friends that have contemplated because they did not know how to decipher, like, is this normal or is this not normal? What do I do? Do I seek help or do I not? And you can't, in that moment, you can't really tell a person, I need you to go to therapy. You can, but they may be at that point where they're like, no, my life is not going to change no matter what I do. And
that kind of goes back to, if you're not ready for it, I mean, you can't get the help that you need.
Right. Right.
You have to be ready for it.
You do.
I mean, you have to be in a position where you're willing to do it. You're willing to talk. You're willing to explain what it is that's going on.
Yeah.
And you have to be wanting help. You have to
exactly.
You have to want the help.
Exactly. Yeah. I was at that, I was in that same situation. I didn't want the help. I shut it down. I said, no, I don't need help. I don't want to talk about this. This is okay. This is my choice. I made the decision to be in this situation. And it wasn't until I call it a knock on the head, a come to Jesus talk, and with my family, they're like, you need to really do something because you're changing. Your appearance, your looks, your demeanor is just not who we know it to be. So, okay, I'll try it out. We'll try it out. And I'm thankful that those people still are here, because had it not been for them, I probably would not be here today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to them.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Well, we've only been going for 53 minutes.
53 minutes is a long time.
It is a long time, but we could fill 7 more minutes.
All right.
Let's talk about something.
Well, I guess, we can talk about how can people schedule.
Yeah, how
Come
can
see
people
me.
schedule?
So people can actually follow me on Facebook. That is
Okay.
like the huge, I love social media. Obviously, we talked about that. So you can find my page at Wisdom of Hope Counseling Services. It might be Counseling LLC Services as well. There you can add, like, share to your family, friends, and we'll get in contact with you to schedule appointments. And we are doing, like I said, in-person and Zoom sessions. I actually do also do sessions in the community. So that might
What does
be,
that look like?
So like going to a park with a kid and their family. I've done that. I've actually done sessions at McDonald's, like right down the street in Jolly and
Oh,
Dunhill.
wow.
Yeah, the Playland is
Okay.
a hot spot there. So
That's actually a really good idea
yeah,
because you kind of get people out of their comfort zone
Right.
because you're elsewhere.
Yep.
You can you don't feel like you're going to somebody else's territory.
yeah. People getting comfortable when they come, to your turf, like
Yeah.
your office. And
Yeah. Tell me about
it. So I try to make it, very welcoming.
Yeah.
At the office, it's a 2-room office, so there's a coffee and tea bar station where people can get their little snacks and things, and kids get juices upon arrival or departure, and then we go into session from there.
I feel like coffee and tea is a really good way to hide behind something.
True, but believe it or not, people love coffee.
I love coffee. I'm
if
going to your therapy just because I
Please
want
do.
coffee.
Please, it's not Starbucks or Big B. But when we get rich, we might have a Starbucks barista in there somewhere.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
coffee helps therapy.
Yeah, coffee definitely helps. It helps energize. I was just talking to a guy about it yesterday. Because it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock when we had a podcast, and I'm like, "You're a savage. You're drinking coffee like right before bed." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, I feel like whenever I go do something, I need to have a coffee because it, like, especially like when you're going into an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Like it kind of gives you something to, like I said,
Boost.
a little boost and something to, like, I don't know, kind of hide behind.
I have chocolate too. A huge thing of chocolate. So help yourself to whatever.
Do you work with anybody that has like a eating disorder, or is that something that you work with?
I don't specialize in those, that population, but I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is it about people with an eating disorder, like somebody who cannot stop eating, or somebody who just eats when they're bored? What do you think that is?
It's definitely a form of, I'm not gonna say trauma, but it's definitely a form of depression. It is. I've had a client that had is it bariatric gastric bypass, one of the two.
Okay.
And she fell off the bandwagon and actually gained that weight back. Like I said, I don't really, not that I'm not pushing them away. I just don't specialize in that. But
Yeah.
I do have a family member that does specialize in
Oh, wow.
that population, and she is hit like very good with working with those individuals.
That's one thing that I guess concerns me about somebody that I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
So, and they've experienced, I guess, a lot of trauma as well.
Yeah.
So,
And it can be a coping mechanism for them as well. Like I mean, you probably have a favorite snack, right?
I like a lot of snacks.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's just say I like sweets. So when I get stressed, I go to sweets.
Yeah, I like sweets too.
So that's kind of where their mindset is, but they don't know how to cut that off. Whereas you and I should, or probably do, we know how to say, okay, no more cookies. Ashley, you just ate like half a sleeve of Oreos.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Right, exactly. Where they might eat the whole thing, and it's perfectly fine for them, where they're just binge eating because that's their way of coping with it.
I guess, like, for me, whenever I do something like that, I think like, wow, you're a piece of crap.
Yeah.
I talk negative to myself. Yeah. Whereas like some people, they might be content eating a sleeve of Oreos, which I don't know how anybody could.
I don't do that. So
you don't eat a sleeve of Oreos? No,
I cannot.
You cannot, or you just won't.
I probably couldn't. I'm not going to, but no, Oreos are not my favorite.
I'm not gonna lie, I have. Yeah.
I might eat like 2 chocolate bars if I'm stressed. I might regret it later. Being vegan.
Oh, you're vegan.
I am.
Yeah. What's that like?
Hard.
Yeah.
But I'm going on year 4.
Are you vegan because of animal cruelty or just because of like a healthy lifestyle?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I have a thing for the plants in the earth, but that wasn't the reason why. It was more so health reasons why I started. And I kind of started as pescatarian, and then it branched off to vegan, and I haven't gone back since.
So do you like it?
I do. I have my moments
Yeah.
where I want to like binge or
Yeah.
relapse,
Yeah.
As they say, like I'm craving crab legs. Honestly, I don't know why, but crab legs sounds really good right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Why are you vegan? You should be vegetarian because then you can cheat.
I know, but I think my body is so used to it right now.
Yeah.
I probably get sick. I actually had a really scary incident this past winter where my husband brought like he thought it was plant-based chicken,
Oh.
and it was not, and it wasn't pretty. So,
Oh man.
yeah.
Yeah. Taking that much protein's not good.
No.
When you're not used to it.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I don't know if I could ever try is veganism, but
You can try.
I could try it. I don't want to. I love meat too much.
Right.
I like eggs. Do you eat eggs? Can you eat eggs?
I eat like
Is it vegan?
there's a plant-based egg. I eat.
Okay.
Yep. So they're like a liquid.
Yeah.
It tastes just like regular eggs though.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. My kids love it. They don't know the difference.
Do they eat a vegan diet too?
I have one kid that's converting right now.
Wow.
So I'm trying to get them all. Like trying to get all of them. It's cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
Because
is.
you have to cook like 2 meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
Yeah.
That'd be really difficult.
Yeah. It sucks, but hopefully one day they'll cross over the other side of veganism with me.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you take supplements for like to make up for some of the lack of nutrients and like in what you would eat typically in like meat?
Not like I should be.
Yeah.
I do take a lot of vitamins, but I don't see a difference in them, honestly. I do a lot of protein shakes as well
Okay.
because I had like a protein deficiency thing years ago. But other than that, no,
And you feel great.
I do.
And you have a lot of energy, obviously, because you work a full-time job,
I
have your own
try.
practice, 4 kids, a husband, your wife.
I know.
Yeah, you got your hands full,
I do.
and you're killing it. I love it.
Thank you.
We're an hour and 1 minute in. We did it.
We did it.
We did 8 minutes.
Sweet.
Is there anything else you want to talk about real quick?
No, just thank you so much for the opportunity. And I hope people listen to this and take their mental health serious.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see success. And I'm
Awesome.
sure you will succeed. I mean, mental health
you.
is a huge thing today.
As it is.
Yes.